Alan, you got a question?
Yeah. I always have questions. This is Alan from the Alan Alfred Sports Talk Show. And myself, along with a lot of people that are here at the museum, are biased. We definitely want to get Lou Piniella in the Hall of Fame. Can you please each answer, what are your thoughts about Lou Piniella and him making it to the Hall of Fame?
I was with Lou for quite a few years, and he probably had more to do with my career than anybody I ever came across. And I mean, at the time, there was speculation with Lou with pitching coaches. He didn't like pitching coaches and all that. Nothing could be further from the truth. He didn't like people that didn't really work or get the job done, which rightfully so if you're managing. But I just have the fondest memories of Lou, and some of them are X-rated. So, but he was just, he was a great manager. I don't think he gets the credit, but he's missed the Hall of Fame twice, I think, by one vote. And the one time, there were White Sox people on the committee, and the White Sox player got in, and I mean, if almost his career alone would get him in the Hall of Fame playing, but managing, and I was with Jim Leland too, and they're both great managers. I mean, unbelievable. And Leland was a genius managing. Lou was not far behind, but if you look at their records, you could put them over each other and you wouldn't know the difference. So, I'm not sure how Lou gets left out. I'm glad Jim got in, but I just not sure how Lou gets left out. And, you really hope that he gets in, before anything happens, because we're all getting older, and, it happens that way sometimes. But I love Lou Piniella. He was just so important to me, and we've remained good friends. The Hall of Fame thing, last year, I thought was horrible. So, but hopefully it comes up again, and it's going to get tougher because more people come on that list. So I'm not sure where it goes, but he certainly deserves it.
Yeah, and I can give a different perspective. I played for Lou in Seattle, and we were just talking about it earlier when he brought up if I had seen Lou. What I loved about Lou, and I was only with him for 2.5, 3 months, but what was great about him, forget about how smart he was on the field, using pitchers and motivating guys and all that. You knew that he was always going to tell you the truth, and no matter how harsh it was, the next day he was over it. He was moving past it. He had his arm around you, so he could really chew your butt out. But the next day he forgot about it. He was like a son to you. So, and you really appreciate that as a manager. As a guy playing for a manager that's always got your back. He's going to tell you the truth, and no matter what, he's going to be in your corner.
When Lou came to Chicago, I had a little bit to do with it because I was already there, and they asked me to call him, and so I called him and I said, Lou, look, it's a tough situation here, a lot of day games. The Tribune or the ownership is in flux and everything else, and I just, the general manager asked me if you'd be interested. So we went down the road. He ended up coming to the Cubs. And I'll never forget, we were, 25 games into the season, and we're getting our butts kicked. It's like 8-1. And Lou was not happy when you were losing. But so we're standing next to each other, and we're probably maybe 11-14 at the time. And about the 5th inning, we're losing 8-1, and he turns to me and goes, Rothschild, what the hell did you get me into? And I said, hey, big guy, you signed the contract, not me.
So real quick, one thing I want to do is the same question we're going to have. We also have Rick Vaughn here. And the question is, and Rick has been a great supporter of the museum, and the reason why I'm taking this time, I'm going to embarrass you, that we now have the Lou Piniella Award that we give out. The first one, I think you guys, most everybody listening probably knows the first recipient, Tony Saladino. And then, so Tony was our first recipient, and our second recipient is Rick Vaughn. So, I just want to give you the opportunity talk a minute about Lou, and just like David did and just like Larry did, because I know how much Lou means to you as well.
Yeah, I got to work with Lou for 3 years. I was PR director for the Rays when he was there. I have a lot of stories, and like Larry said, many of them I can't tell next company, but just two things I want to say. I just looked this up the other day before I received the award. Think about these two facts. One, Lou was in uniform, Major League uniform, for more than 1,000 wins as a player. He's in uniform as a manager for more than 1,800 wins. You know how many people, how many others in Major League history have done that? Have reached those plateaus? There's only two. One of them is Joe Torre, and the other is Dusty Baker. The other thing I wanted to mention was he's 17th all time in wins. 17th all time. I think there's, I don't know how many managers. The 16 guys in front of him, of the 13 of them are in the Hall of Fame. 3 of them are not even eligible yet. So of the 16 guys in front of them, they're all either in the Hall of Fame or they're probably going to get there. They're just not eligible yet. So when you look to me, and those, I've got some other things, I won't bore you with them, but those two really stood out to me is the impact that he had on the game. You know, I mean, I used to love and sit and talk baseball, how to put a roster together. You know, and Larry said it. I think if Lou was in the one dugout and you're in the other dugout and you got the same amount of talent, he's winning more than you're winning because he knew the best way to put his players in the best position to be successful, and it worked for a lot more. Winning percentage is another thing. He's way up in the winning percentage, and yet he's still not in the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, the Old Timers Committee is very political, and like Larry said, you know, the White Sox guys sort of got one of their guys in a couple of years ago, and Lou should have been in years before that guy got in. Right? That's just my opinion, but thank you for asking.
You know, Lou, they should actually have stuff here. You'd be out to dinner with him, and he'd take out a pen on a napkin, he'd write out the lineup for the next day. All the time. Like, he didn't get it on a computer, people didn't tell him. He just knew, like, he knew who was pitching against the Cubs or whoever it was at the time, and he knew what to do, and he always put guys in position to be successful. And it's pretty amazing, but those are the days, and that's how he did things, and he wasn't wrong.
David, and while we're on the subject of Lou, would you mind telling the story about Lou's glove? Because as you guys, most of you have been in here before, but the glove over there, and when you go around that side, you'll see David's jersey, like I was telling you before, from the World Series win. And next to it is Lou's glove. And Chantal's not here because she was the one that told me about the story. But tell everybody about you getting Lou's gloves when you were younger.
So Lou's my cousin and godfather. And so when me and my brother were growing up playing Little League Baseball, he would always send us gloves, you know, and he was an outfielder. I was an infielder. My brother was an infielder. So when I look back at pictures of me at West Tampa, you know, with my glove on, I mean, I had this massive, still couldn't field, still couldn't catch it, but I had this massive glove. And I was actually looking at a picture the other day. We were going through some old pictures, and it was a picture of me when I was in Pee-wees, and here I am with this glove, and the glove is almost bigger than I am. You know? But every year, Lou would send me and my brother 2 gloves each, and we, you know, it was like, didn't make me a very good fielder, but it was still, I appreciate it.
So, and I do, when people come in and I do tours, just so you know, David, that is one of the stories that I tell everybody.